next episode, I believe we're on 15 now. I believe this is number 15.
Mhm.
After, yeah, I did a preview for, oh shoot, yeah, Fear the Hop. So it's been a minute. But we got a great guest. Got to see him out at the Hoop Hall Invitational, I think it is called, or Classic. I don't know, one of the two.
Yeah,
Um,
one of them.
we got Brayden Barrett, one of my favorite prospects in the class of 2026, out here at Millennium High School in Goodyear, Arizona. If you don't know where Goodyear is, it's way out there, way out by surprise.
Yeah.
But they got quite a basketball team, and they pulled off a huge win against Sunnyslope this past week, which we'll get into. But great to have you on, Brayden. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Just did my thing. Just woke up, got my lifting in, and got on this episode. So
Yeah, I love seeing all y'all work. I was like,
Mhm.
got to overhear Caden and Kayla looked like it seemed like they had another workout plan today
Yeah.
for after their game they had yesterday. But let's get into you and kind of your story too. Goodyear is not really been a big basketball town, it seems like out here. I know Millennium, they've had a lot of really good players come out of the program, but you guys, with you and Cam coming last year with Kingston, what has kind of been, I guess, maybe the mood around school? I don't know how good y'all's football team is, but when it's come basketball season, especially this year, what has been kind of the vibes around school about how you guys have been treated?
So around last year, it wasn't a big following. We had everyone was kind of new. Me and Cam coming in. Cam kind of made some noise coming in, and Kingston was not really known at all. So last year coming in, it was kind of quiet, but for the impact we made last year, beating a lot of good teams, we came into this year with making a lot of noise. We had a lot of recognition coming in and beating a lot of good teams over the summer and in the fall. It was definitely good. School is I wish we had a better following for our school, like some other schools in the valley, but it's getting there. We're getting better. Our games are getting busier. So other than that, I mean, I say it's pretty good so far.
Yeah, I'm looking at your guys' schedule from last year. For people that may not know about the Tigers, 27-5 on the season, 12-0 in your section. You beat teams like Peoria, who won the state championship for their division, Mountain Point, who is they might not have the guys, but they're always going to play hard and go at you every single chance they get. Um, you beat Canyon View, who is now looked at as a big sleeper, it feels like, for their division. Hamilton, who is kind of on the rise now, it seems like this year, Notre Dame Prep, O'Connor, Castile, who always has some guys. But yeah, you guys this year now, though, 6-1, 2-0 in your section. I want to get though into you guys just went on this Thanksgiving tournament thing because we were supposed to do this like the week leading up to Thanksgiving, but then we had to switch it around just because y'all were
Mhm.
out there. Um, y'all had 3 games out there, correct?
We had four.
Okay. So you had Crandall, Lufkin, Bentonville,
Yeah,
West, and
Bentonville.
Stony Point.
Yeah.
3-1 through
Mhm.
those games. How is that for you guys? I know you have a couple of more pieces. You got Adrian, who's a freshman, who seems to be a big spark off the bench. Of course, Sabian, who we're going to get into. How beneficial was that tournament for you guys being able to get used to each other, the chemistry, to be able to go and do what you did at Hoop Hall too?
I think that this Texas tournament was one of the biggest. Well, this Texas showcase was one of the biggest showcases we've ever had. I think that just in terms of, even though three of our wins were blowouts, each team was still a great team, and I think that first game, even Cam got hurt in the first game, and he didn't play for the next two games. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, but our bench, the way they stepped up, and I don't even think I didn't play as well as I usually do, but our bench, the way that they stepped up, we have Sam Franklin, Tristan Rhodes, and Adrian, and Who else? The way that they just stepped up was just it was amazing. They they won us those games. I think if it wasn't for them, those games would have been way closer. So it was I think it was really important. And that Stony Point game, I think we needed that. That was our one loss that we were gonna take. So I think after that, I don't think I see us losing any more games. So
And you might be right by that, man. 82-69 was the final in that. And Stony Point looks like they're a good team. Right now they're 10-0 on the season.
mhm.
So I don't know much about them, but seeing 10-0 this early in the season, a lot of people I'm sure know about them. But
Oh yeah.
before we get into your specific style of play, what were some things you've been working on recently? I know we were just talking before we recorded. Got to see you a little bit at the EYBL this summer. I know you're with Unity. I'm sure that was a great experience too, but kind of what have you been working on stylistically for you from summer translating into fall and now being ready for the season?
I think a lot of it was me getting into the gym, starting to lift more, and because I feel like from my sophomore year to my junior year is really where things are gonna start moving faster, and I'm gonna start really like you're gonna people are really gonna start seeing a difference in my game.
Hmm.
And so I think that just every day, just getting into the weight room and just getting stronger and bigger and faster and stronger, because that's what we're gonna have to go against when we start playing these national teams and these national schedules that we're gonna have. So just things like that. And I just feel like, my defense, I got to get that better. I mean, I'm not even close to where I want to be at in my senior year. So, just doing all the little things.
Is that kind of surreal for you guys? I'm sure, like off the court, you guys are really tight. Just and I'm not even knowing that from a fact. I just can. It seems like it from how you guys stick up for each other and play for each other on the court. But is that surreal for you guys hearing like you have a national schedule at such a young age?
It is because last year going into playing these teams like in the Ailani Classic out in Hawaii, and
Oh,
from
that's
going
right.
from there and going 3-1 against some top teams in the country, and then now we're going to in December we're going to the city of Palms, and just like looking at as a kid, it was like, man, that was something I've always looked up as. Is like, what the heck? Like, no way I'm in this. I'm gonna go be playing in this in December.
Yeah, that was
So,
the one I think where like Colin Sexton. Is that where he
mhm.
eyeballed that guy
Oh,
at the
yeah,
free throw
that was
line?
it.
And
I
that's
think
where
so.
I know Montverde. So that time, is that going to be the Paul VI and is that one on the
Yeah,
eighth?
that's when we played Paul the Six. Yeah.
Okay. That is good. I'm gonna have to tune into that because I had heard you guys are going out there. Didn't know it
Mhm.
was coming up. You guys, is that taking a toll on you guys, like tired wise, like having to go Texas now? Who Paul? You got how many games in between now? You got one, two, three, four, five. You got 5 games before you gotta then head out there in like 2 weeks. I'm
Mhm.
assuming it's not say, I'm not trying to get you to say like it's taking a toll and that y'all are gonna be tired, but seeing how much travel, I'm sure it wears you out at times.
No, it definitely does. But we just gotta. I mean, our the way our sports program is at Millennium, it feels like a college. Like if I would
Mm,
imagine what a college would be, I feel like this would be like this is how Millennium is, because we have everything given to us. Like we whenever we want, we can go and get in the ice bath. We can go get physical therapy just whenever. So we're always getting recovery in, always doing stretching, always lifting. So it is taking a toll on us. I definitely say that, but I mean, it's taking a toll on us in a good way so that we're
mm.
prepared for December.
How has your coaching staff done that? I know you guys have a really good coaching staff. Furman Camacho was my old coach when I played for AZ Storm when I was in
Okay.
middle school. So
Okay. Yeah.
I had just saw him on the bench at the Sunnyslope game. I'm like, is that Coach Camacho? I'm like, I haven't seen
Yeah.
the guy in like 5 years.
I know. Yeah.
But
That was my first club team actually, was Storm.
was it really?
Yeah.
This is a crazy small world, but seeing how you guys have become prepared and are able to take in the big moments, it doesn't surprise me that you guys have this type of schedule. But in practice wise, how is your coaching staff and the trainers and even you guys as a team? How are you guys getting yourself ready to be able to go up and really play well in these big moments and in these big showcases?
Yeah, so these practices that they put us through, man, they're if you'd come and watch them, they're way harder than these games that we're playing in. Like we're going at each other every practice. Like there's been times where it's like we don't want to after these practices, we don't want to see each other for the rest of the week, but we have to do it. We have to get up the next morning, see each other at school, and have to do it all over again because it's just nonstop.
Well, let's get into your game too. You're a three-level scorer to me in just a multitude of ways. I had you as one of my players on the clips to watch out for the sophomore class because of your shooting ability, but also you're able to really guard 1 through 4 as well. And I saw that this past week. For people that may be finding out about you for the first time, though, right now, how would you describe how you play?
Well, I think that people would see me play as a stretch that I can set screens, I can get players open. That's what I've been trying to work on lately is not necessarily getting myself open, but getting others open because
Mm,
once they get open and someone's gonna have to come out on them, then I'm already knowing like I'm gonna get the ball right back. So if I get my teammates open, then it's gonna help me too. And I also think that people would see me as a rebounder. That's what I've been trying to work on. I've been trying to get my averages up to about 6 or 7 rebounds a game. And so, yeah, just mostly just like all around player. So, yeah.
your rebounding showed out in the hoop ball game, which we're gonna get into in a couple of minutes. You had 7 that day. I know you didn't have the best shooting night, and Sabian and Cam are able to step up in those, but you were affecting the game in a lot more ways. So I definitely can see that when you play because sometimes, especially in high school, I'm sure you figured this out as well. Not everyone's going to be on every single night. You guys sometimes go through waves, sometimes not, but being able to impact and, like you're saying, get your guys more open because then I'm going to get open. That speaks volumes to the type of player and teammate it seems like you are. But one more thing about you in September, you picked up your first Division I offer. So the University of Washington. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. So any chance I see a kid from out here maybe go to the Pacific Northwest,
Uh-huh.
it's a big deal. But what can you say about the process of getting that offer, talks you had with them, and then if there's any update to your recruitment at all, if any other schools are talking to you?
So, I mean, the process it was definitely hard because like growing up and playing in like made hoops and all this big media games and stuff, kids are gonna get offers and that like that's gonna it takes a toll on me for sure because
Mm,
I would wake up in the morning and then another kid would have an offer and I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, what can I do to get myself an offer when I'm just like barely a freshman?
mm,
So it was a lot. Like I just got to stay patient and just keep doing my thing. My parents, my coaches were just telling me like, you just got to stay patient. Like, I mean, most of these offers aren't even really offers until your junior year. So
right.
it's a lot it's a lot of media stuff. I'll tell you that. And so it affects some kids' heads for sure. And but so yeah, that's really what what how it would take a toll on me. So
Is there any other schools that have shown interest in you? I don't know if I think it's a closed period right now. So you don't need to say like if a team has offered you, but during the open time, I guess we should say, was there any other schools that reached out to you and to talk to you?
yeah, so when we had the open period and after the hoopball game, I did receive a couple messages just like, showing interest. Um I don't think I should disclose like who it was
You
because
don't need
I'm
to.
not
You
gonna
don't need
all
to.
right.
You can
But
tell me post recording just
I
so
got
I'm
you.
aware, but
I got you. But my coach, he's helping me through it a lot. But I mean, me only being a sophomore, it's kind of hard because they can't really talk to me.
right.
But but they're still texting my coach about it, and he's letting me know.
Hey man, you're taking the smart route, not spilling anybody's garbage out, not getting anybody in trouble. But I do want to hit on something you just said though. I'm in the media and I love all the guys that are out here doing the media and showcasing your guys' talents. I think it is a really good thing. But recently, of course, we've seen a lot of nationally ranked kids go through some stuff. And I think it's like I'm glad you're aware of it now, that it does affect some kids getting too much hype, I guess you can say. You talk about how your parents and your coaches have kind of helped you through it to keep your head high when you might have not been getting the offers as so and so, or and this guy did it.
Mhm.
What were some things your parents said to you? I mean, you're only a sophomore too. You have a long road to go. A lot of success is going to happen for you. But when you're in those times of just feeling probably down and like against yourself, what were some things your people close to you were talking and trying to help you, and what was some advice you received?
Um, so a lot of things my dad would say is that if because when I was like last year, I wasn't the most athletic kid, I wasn't the fastest kid, but it was just like the little things I would do. And he was like, in the long run, you guys are never gonna you guys are gonna be the same age, you're gonna be that you graduate the same year.
Mm-hmm.
The offers are still gonna be there, the colleges aren't gonna go away. But like in the long run, they're gonna see what you do, and that they're
Mm,
gonna like stuff's gonna happen, and like you just gotta stay patient and just stay with it, because if you get too high, then you can slow down, and then like if you get too high, then you can stop working. But if you just keep your head in the right place and stay patient, and you're always working, then the coaches are gonna see it in the long run, and it's gonna pay off. So that's what they would tell me a lot.
um, there's a lot to unpack about what went down Thursday night, was it? Yeah, Thursday with you and
Mhm.
Sunnyslope. Before we get into necessarily what happened, of course, again, a lot of hype around it. I saw a lot of people saying it's going to be a sold out gym, standing room only. It was packed. Let's just say that it was a busy night and there was a lot of people there. Um, what was your guys' mentality? Were you all excited when you found out you're going to be playing Sunnyslope, excuse me, on arguably one of the biggest stages in the West and like on the West Coast of it? How kind of what was the mentality? What was the vibe heading into that game for you guys?
When we first heard it, because we did play them in the summer in like a summer league game, and it didn't really mean anything. We lost by like 1 point, but going into it, we weren't really that excited because we wanted to play them in a championship game when it mattered. We wanted to wait, and we wanted to play them, for it all. But no, going into it now, because we saw these rankings that came out, and they're number one, we were number two.
Yeah, I don't know who posted that one.
I know it doesn't really matter, but that gave us motivation for sure. But yeah, going into it, we're really excited, and just because they're a top team, so we're just glad that we could take them down.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's why I don't do rankings.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll do some like here's what happened around Arizona high school
Hmm.
basketball, and like I've been doing like 3 players, 3 teams. I'm gonna try and stay as far away from rankings as
Yeah.
possible because it
Yeah.
just stirs the pot.
Those are
Um,
political.
you guys did not get off though to the right start. 14 points at halftime to Sunny Slopes 23. Before we get into kind of like Savian's performance and Cam stepping up and you being a part of that in Kingston as well, what changed in the locker room? What did your coaching staff say to you guys? Because it was not looking good. And I thought honestly you guys were going to win, but I was like, I don't know how this is going to go because it was my first time seeing Sunnyslope, and I hadn't seen you guys in about a year. Didn't really know what to expect from both teams, but what did your coaching staff and even your teammates like tell you guys in that 10-minute break to be able to go out and play the way you did?
Yeah. So going into that game, there was two options of what was going to happen. We were going to go in there and play our style of game, score our 70 to 80 points, and we were going to beat them by 15 to 20. Or we would have went in there, played their style of game, slowed the game up. And because when we played them in the summer, it was like a 35-point game. Like it was like we both scored like 30 points, and it was slow. It was their style of
Was that
game.
the game at Brophy?
It was at Centennial. It was like a summer league game.
There was one at, didn't you guys play them at Brophy?
We played Bash Brophy. That might have
That's
been
who
the
it was. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
yeah. So we going in that game, it was two options, and the way we started out, I was like, yep, it's going their way for sure. How they're slowing us down, and but no, at halftime, we walked in there, it was all quiet. Our coach came in, he just ripped us apart. Like he rips me apart. He just, we are not gonna lose because I was already knowing like if we were gonna lose, it would have been a bad day with all this hype around us. And then so yeah, we went out. We had just the intensity that we came out of right away. It was it was amazing. Like even when I came off the bench and I was like, I don't even want to go in the game because the way that they're playing right now, we're gonna beat this team easily. So just the way the intensity, our press was just off the charts, and it was just like it was controlling. And they got really tired. They only played 7, so we used that to
Mhm.
our advantage. And because we're deep, so we can continue to rotate. But yep, we just tired them down, and we just kept scoring.
You guys scored 39 points in the second half to their 30, and it tied up. Sabian hit the game tying 3, I
Yep,
believe.
that crazy. He had 7 steals that game, and he came down and just shot a
That's a
three, and I was
bad
like,
dude. That's a
"It's
bad
a yep."
dude.
I'm telling you what, if he wasn't committed right now, he would have picked up a. I'll tell you what, he could have picked up a lot of offers that game for sure.
yeah, I definitely agree. I want to get into. I know we've said it a couple of times. Even though you didn't put up the points on the board like you usually do, you're an 11 point per game scorer last year. You did impact the game though on the boards and defensively, being able to switch on Jay and Darius and Ryder. Ryder's one of the tougher guys to guard. It seems like just with how quick he is with his handle and being able to shoot from outside. How were you able, because you just talked about you didn't want to come into the game in the second half. How were you able to change your mindset into making sure you could still do your part and to help your guys get the win?
Yeah, so me coming back in, subbing back into the game after I hit the three, I was like, this is not my game where I need to score. I have all my
Mm,
teammates, Sabian and Cam, they're scoring, they're doing their thing. This is the game where I need to step up and I need to get the rebounds that are the 50-50 balls. I need to get those. I need to make sure we get those possessions because it seemed like we would go down and score and then they would come back down and then they would get a bucket. And it was not like it would just even it out. So I need to make sure to lock up on defense and then get us that possession back so we can go down and get a bucket.
you brought him up, Savion Kane. Let's talk about him because even though you guys, and I haven't, this is my question that I wrote. We'll talk about, yeah, I said, let's talk about him because he put the state on notice in really his debut game in Arizona, because the one against La Jolla Community where you beat him by just about 100, I'm like, that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
But 27 points for him. He had 7 steals. He was just active everywhere. What can you say? Because if people don't know about him, he comes from Indiana, correct?
Mhm.
And I don't know. I don't need to know how that transfer happened. I don't know if you all knew him beforehand or if he was just family was just going to move to Arizona and that's just kind of how it happened. But what can you say about the fit that he is next to you, Kingston, and Cam for this season?
I mean, I think for people that are wondering about it, I think that game just speaks for itself, really. I mean, it just shows that we have another level scorer, another threat in our team. And that, I mean, even last year we saw it with, I mean, me, Cam, and Kingston, and Quincy, and JT, that everyone's going to score at some point. Like, everyone's going to do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna take turns. Saban's gonna go off one game, then the next game is gonna be Quincy, and then the next game is gonna be Kingston for 20. So just I think it just speaks for itself. He just fit in right. He fit in just perfectly. He was our piece that we were missing, I feel like, just that other player we needed. And yeah, I just think yeah, the way he just came into our school, he didn't really because the way like coming in from a new state, I feel like would be hard for some people because new team, new people, he doesn't really know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he just gelled with our team, it was impressive for sure.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with you guys. Even though you have Quincy, JT, a couple of other guys off the bench, Adrian out too. It seemed like because since you, Kingston, and Cam are all more wings and bigs, I know y'all can all bring up the ball and create for others, but having like a good guard scorer that can go off or something like that, like this makes you even more deadly than I think what people thought heading into the season, even though it's only 7 games in. But there is no doubt, one of my last questions for you, there's no doubt the number one spot in the state is up for grabs. Perry is still and should be considered one of the best, of course, because of DeAndre Koa, Barron, No, and the rest of the guys they got. But then now, as we've seen this week, Sunnyslope is going to compete. Desert Mountain is when Desert Mountain's going, it seems like it's hard to stop. And I saw it firsthand yesterday against Sierra Canyon, and then Basha. They've all made cases about why they should be taken seriously. What are you guys hoping to do this year to continue to dominate like you guys have such a young team? Because you guys, I know Kingston's a junior,
Mhm.
Sabian's a senior, so he'll be leaving, but you and Cam sophomores, Adrian a freshman, a lot of guys will be back next year. What do you guys hope to accomplish this season to put Millennium truly on the map for basketball?
I just think that just keeping our heads down and just, staying under the radar for sure and just keep doing what our own thing, keep practicing it out how we practice and just keep getting better individually and as a team. I think that's gonna because the next year we're gonna have the same five coming back. So just again, it's not really gonna change much. But I think yeah, the way we're gonna come next year and this year is gonna be different for a lot of people. It's gonna shake some people's minds for sure.
Hey, I love it. One of my last questions for you too. Who are the people you see in yourself? Of course, we kind of talked about it. You're able to affect the game in a lot of ways, but your shooting is one of the things that when you get going from three, again, it's extremely hard to stop. Saw it in summer at Brophy. And then I've seen it throughout last year too. But who are some guys you watch film on by yourself? Your coaches tell you play like stuff like that.
Yeah, I get this question asked a lot, but I think that I role model my game after a lot of Kevin Herter,
Ooh.
um, Kevin Love. I like Klay Thompson. Just a lot of those. You don't really take many dribbles, but you impact the game without a lot of dribbles. And I think that I'm trying to get to that point, and the way that they can play defense, and then they can come down and trail and hit a big three. I think that's one of the best players in the league, like best roles in the league to me, I think, because they affect the game in every single way. So
Yeah, absolutely. I have one last question for you, but before that, what are some things you want to accomplish this year specifically? You guys, like I said, national schedule, a lot of tough games. I have it up. Some big ones that people would want to definitely pop out at Brophy on the 15th before the Paul VI game. Y'all got Canyon View and Notre Dame Prep, and then Canyon View again in February, and then you cap off the season against Desert Mountain at home. We've talked about the team enough, but for you, what are you hoping to accomplish for this season as a sophomore?
I think for sure, getting first team all region, and because last year I made second team, but that doesn't really matter to me because in the long run, I know that it doesn't really matter. It does, but in the long run, it's not really going to affect me that much. But of course, winning that state championship, being able to help my team every game, whether it's hitting the points that I usually score, or getting the rebounds, or defensively, or even if it's a game that I'm not playing much, the bringing the energy to the game, and that just encouraging everybody that have that if they're struggling in that game, just being able to encourage them and just stuff like that, doing the little things.
Those are all great answers, man. My last question, don't know if you've ever watched an episode before, but I always ask this question at the end. Favorite on-court shoe? I do want to say, though, probably one of the more stylish dressers off the court. I see you got a lot of shoe game off the court. Couple of Travis's. Don't know how you got them. I'm not going to ask because it's not my business. But you guys did play in a team shoe last week or this past week, which I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. I would love to see all the shoe game that would have popped out. But what's been your favorite on-court shoe? You guys will be sponsored by Jordan this year too, so I'm sure you got some nice shoes. But what are going to be the go-tos for you this season?
Well, this season we have a team shoe, so it's kind of hard to wear whatever I like. But if I were to wear the shoes I usually wear is Kobe's. I have some Kobe eights. I have I have some secrets in the closet that I'll be able to pull out for sure.
Yeah, man, I love it. Well, Brayden, I appreciate you coming on and chopping it up on off the court. Before we go, though, anything to shout out?
Um, no, I think the people they mostly like, they know. People know.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on and chopping it up. Everyone, make sure to go follow us on Instagram, offthecourt.pod. Same with TikTok. Subscribe on YouTube. And yeah, we'll be back next week for another episode of the Off the Court podcast.